Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Neal David Sutz. I am the independent vice presidential candidate for the upcoming November 5th, 2024 U.S. presidential elections, with literally anybody else as the presidential candidate. This evening, we're doing an interview which at first glance might seem like I'm sitting next to a man who I don't know, who I recently met in a garden, and we're not going to talk about politics. We are talking about politics tonight as they apply to everybody in the United States, on the soil and foreign, and the differences between them. So without saying much more than that, I'd like to introduce to you Jo'Hán, and thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me and to come all this way. I really appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Jo'Hán not all oyedo bashistni alto tato le bikikonasha. I bless you for your. Thank you for here and listen to me. My name is Jo'Hán. I came from Arizona, Grand Canyon, and I belong to the tribe of Diné, exactly on tobacco clans and giant monsters. Two these clans are one of the first clans from the past before they became with other tribes together in the Navajo Nation in Arizona. Today I want to say something that's very interesting that probably the most of people in the world that didn't know that, and so appreciated that you listened to me for a while, and thank you for inviting me for say this opportunity. So thank you for that.
It's an honor.
Thank you.
It's absolutely an honor. When you hear what he is going to say, I'm asking questions. This is a short interview. It's very personal to me. As a child, between 1978 and 1981, every weekend I would go up to Window Rock, Arizona, which I now understand as an adult at this time is Window Rock you're from Grand Canyon. You were born in Grand Canyon. People know where the Grand Canyon is in Arizona. Window Rock is what part of the nation is that? Is it?
Yeah, exactly. Window Rock, the name takes from the formations on the rocks, exactly through the windows, like hole in the window in the rocks formation. That's why I kept the name of Window Rock. We say it's Anhuan, and the net. And Window Rock is the village and became a capital city of the Navajo Nation. Navajo Nation is the territories which includes many villages around the county where it's designed to host the governments of the offices technically, basically. It's at the border with the New Mexico. Window Rock is the capital. It's the capital of the Navajo Nation.
The Navajo Nation, yes. The political capital.
Political capital.
The political capital. Right. Okay. Yeah. Before I get into the questions, which I wrote a list of questions because I had to wrap my head around something that at 53 years old, having grown up in Arizona, spent so much time there, that I've learned more about in the last 24 hours than I've known before. So before I get into that, can you just tell me in brief summary, people in the United States of America, in Arizona, generally speaking, they say the phrase, which I find rather pejorative, Native Americans, are a sovereign nation. They say the Navajos, the Apaches, the Occidental, typical Americans say that. Can you just tell me briefly, as Diné, the truth of who you are truly, and as the objective Occidental perception of who you are, being he's a member of the Navajo Nation, the kind of ignorant perspective, ignorant meaning they don't have the knowledge. What does sovereignty mean? Are you, as Diné, born in America, born in the Grand Canyon, who is Diné, part of the entire Navajo Nation, from your clan in particular, are you sovereign in the sense of, do you have the right to vote if you were there outside of the political capital of Window Rock, Arizona?
Yes, personally, I don't have the right to vote either, because honestly, I'm also very interested in that. Of course, if I'm living there for a long time, maybe I vote or I support the members that make a campaign to promote themselves for the Navajo Nation president. This is okay, yes, of course, but not more just politically. Honestly, it's not my business. I understand I don't understand this politics. Of course, I have another grow-ups. Okay,
Right.
So anyway, it's not like this.
Okay.
Yeah, the situation about Diné, what is the Navajo, what is Diné? At the beginning, it's Diné, it was Diné. We say Diné. Now the meanings of Diné it's very huge to understand. Up above, when it means D vibration, ne to move. But also according to the Navajo Nation traditional teaching, Diné means up above, means up above. It's something that's from the sky to the herd, to the herd to the sky, something like that. But it is Diné. Navajo is many tribes together that live in the same territories between the Grand Canyon, San Juan rivers, and also part of New Mexico, part of the Utah, South Utah, and in the Colorado. We join together the territories, and we call each other altogether Navajo Nation. So originally Navajo doesn't exist like a name of the tribe.
Okay.
Diné, Paiute, Walapai, Wasupai, Hopi, Apaches together. We call each other in the Navajo Nation because nations means people. Diné is the tribe. Example, Diné tribe in the Navajo Nation. Apache tribe in Navajo Nation.
Right.
Paiute tribe in the Navajo Nation.
Okay.
And also the languages basically for all of us, the natives in the area of the Southwest, specifically mostly in Arizona, extended more in other countries aside. This basically is come from the Diné, the languages of Diné.
Okay.
Diné Bitzat, languages of Diné Bitzat. And other tribes learn each other's and also introduce in the languages to unify one languages to say this is a Navajo languages. Basically comes from the Diné.
Okay. So the
basis is the
Diné.
Diné. So we say Diné tribe, altogether Navajo Nation.
Okay, that's great. I appreciate the explanation. It's a lot of information, and so I'll put an introduction into this so people can see some more information about it, but that's a brilliant way of summarizing a lot of information because we're making this concise. Especially because yesterday, the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party, Kamala Harris, I heard, was in Arizona, so it's very fascinating timing that I don't believe is a coincidence that you happen to be able to come here at this point while I'm on another continent. So, what is the biggest challenge you have? Okay, you're born in Grand Canyon. We've talked about this personally. We talked about it yesterday. I knew a little bit about it before. What is your, in summary, challenge that you have as Diné in your life, in the world, not the political world, but circulating in the world? We're here in Italy. For instance, where's your residency?
Yeah. Actually, my residence is in Europe. For many years it was in Italy. A few years ago I moved in Germany just because of work, to change, to move, doesn't matter. And that originally from Diné in Arizona, Grand Canyon. The family that I belong, 100 years ago, they were deported from the territories of northern Arizona, Utah, many natives.
Your ancestors were deported?
Yes. It was about 1,200 people, more or less.
Okay.
It was deported from the areas of the Grand Canyon, southwest United States.
Okay.
And deported in Europe. And
They were deported, just to help people understand.
Yeah.
Deported from northern Arizona Grand Canyon area,
that
area to different countries.
To different countries, especially in Europe and part in Asia. Mostly in Europe.
Mostly in
England, and Spain, France, and Italy.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Because they help for the army, political ways, strategies, militaries, for to use like soldiers. You know, probably code talkers.
Code talkers, absolutely.
Right. Yes, code talkers are recognized officials. They're all over the world. But there's other soldiers that now became officially like a code talkers, but assist. There's the one that they changed the name because code talkers back to the United States.
Right.
The others, they were sold out to the other governments and changed the name, everything. Why? Because the most people that was deported, that's not code talkers. Code talkers, military official recognized with the birth certificates and clans. Okay, but the other people was deported. They no censors, don't have recordings in our country.
And you're talking in
We
terms
don't
of
have,
records, like birth records.
Yes,
of
because
that.
it has the birth records. Yes, of course.
And your grandfather, if I remember correctly, your grandfather
yes.
was a code talker, worked for in the U.S.
The
military.
relatives, the brothers, my grandfather was code talkers, and the relatives were not code talkers. That's a few years ago that in Arizona, here in Winter Rock, Hortons, it was many times in England. Lives over there in England and back to the United States before he died.
Okay, so
Okay.
in terms of worldly practicality, having spent, I didn't grow up in Window Rock, but I spent a lot of time with many people that, and I don't know if they were obviously from your specific clan, but when I heard you talk for the first time as an American, even though you speak Italian, you speak German.
No, I don't speak German. Even
I'm
not speaking German.
But when you talk as an American, anybody that's listening to this would know in 2 seconds who spent a second in either Arizona, Utah, in that region, or heard on TV in America. I knew right away. People say, like we talked yesterday, the Americans don't have an accent in particular, but there is a certain intonation that is an undeniable proof of your maternal Occidental language. The way you speak English, it's not I have my accent. I was born in New York. I was raised in D.C. You have your way of talking. It's clear. It's evident. It's not that you just learned English and you have an Italian accent. So you're basically, in summary, what I wanted to ask you about the code talker thing is your family, your blood family, and this was code talkers were World War II they started, or did they start in World War I?
Then also between the wars, World War
between
I
the wars.
II, yes. Also after.
So your family, your actual family, clearly were code talkers who served the U.S. military, which is the U.S. government.
Yeah. Right.
So now I want to go quickly into what is the challenge that you have, because you and I have discussed it. Could you summarize the challenge you have with this, what your name is, your name, and what your challenge is in this world, and explain it to me, what challenges you're facing right now because of, let's just say, political policy in Europe, in the United States. What's this challenge you have? I know what your name is now.
Yes, the challenge is that I would like that the Navajo nations and Arizona, so the authorities recognize me that originally I come from the Native Americans clans. Mm-hmm. Even these clans going to disappear. And I talked with many other clans in the northern, the southern, in the central Arizona's clan. Mm-hmm. They know that many families, many people were deported and never back. Mm-hmm. So in my case, my family was in Italy, part it was in French and Spanish, of course. And for me, it was so unexpected when I know something that I don't feel comfortable in the place where I'm living, because it's not me, it's not my place.
Right.
And in a way, just because also live many years in another country, you keep the accent, especially when you learn the languages, right? It's okay.
Totally.
That is a very hostility. Then when I'm back, sometimes I get back also the accent, but this is not the point, because don't you say that in Arizona that the accents, because we study British English, but we don't have a special accent. We have some words, a way to say.
Right.
But no typical accents. That's very evident when the Texans or New York or California,
or right? Mississippi, Alabama, right? It's very
Alabama, Alabama. Okay, so we have another modality because our accent for our language is Diné.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, we think in Diné.
Right.
And we introduce some words or parts of the words from the concepts that the English words have in the Diné. It's not so easy.
Okay.
Okay. We have a radio KTNN, the voice of Navajo Nation.
Okay.
that sometimes say this is the new words that create to remember, because we introduce new words in Diné to say this thing. Yes, because we don't have a lot of words still today to translate everything in English or otherwise. Well, so, and me personally, my life, or what is my mission, is to, according with the Navajo Nation governments and the Atali Association, and also the Navajo Nation Human Rights Commission. Mm-hmm. I talked with the director, and we take the point that my mission is to let people in the world to understand who these Native Americans really are.
Okay.
Not through the movie or through the pictures or the map stripes.
Not Hollywood
It's
nonsense,
not Hollywood,
filtered.
of course.
You're giving the
original,
truth, the information.
The truth information, no with just the truth informations. Because the history is not exactly what Europeans say that happens.
Clearly.
Yeah, just is. And this is what I'm doing through ceremonies or conferences, cultures meeting in the schools, in the authorities also, according with also the president's nomination that was in the first time that I asked this was 2008, George Shirley. I say hello. Yeah, and this is my mission. I would like to, because in Italy, for example, because part of my family was sold in Italy, they changed completely family name.
And this is what I really wanted to
where
get
we
with.
came from exactly.
Why can't you use your name in Italy?
Yes. First, can you use why? Because I know it's a politics now, but they don't like strangers' names that's known to represent a Christian's name, Christianity.
Okay.
So like a religious name. For example, John is here in Italy is Giovanni.
I think so.
For example, Paolo, something like that. Right. But my name's original name, Jo'Hán, is Jo'Hán. Jo'Hán means a sun, the star, as a sun. We say Jo'Hán. Chánt'Ney is the concepts in the Diné languages that it means who that's speaking through.
Okay.
Jo'Hán Chánt'Ney means who that's speaking through, the sun. So sun away for the sun represents the knowledge. Okay, the great spirits of us through the sun for to be connecting in the universe together. And this is who basically means who speak through the sun, who have knowledge.
Okay, so your name is your name.
Yeah.
My name, I was born with the name Neal David Sutz. You were born with your name. You were forced, clearly. I can clearly use the word coercion, having understood, not in some violent way. You were obligated, if you wanted to continue to live in the modern world, do your work, your administrative work, travel, to take on a Christian Occidental name. Why do you think? Because if you look at family line, my father served in the military, for example, Korean War afterwards as well. There's a certain law, first of all, there are many laws that say if you had a family member that served in the military, whatever the family member was, if they were an ensign in the Navy, if they were an engineer, or if they were a code talker, which means they served the American government, why do you think it is that it is this enormous challenge for you to just be you and use your name? Because it's Italy, but it's also, it affects your life personally, whether you're in America and you visit Arizona. You were there, what, in 2018 the last time?
No less than what 2018, yes. Before,
2018.
Yes, 2018.
Why do you think, if you look at it objectively, okay, there's this misconception clearly about the Native Americans have their sovereignty, they have their own laws, they have their own government. But today, for example, there's and yesterday, this visitation of a presidential candidate who is looking to attract, just as the Republican candidate is, looking to attract votes. I understand you don't want to vote. We're not here to get you to vote. That's not what this is about. But how is it that your family served in the military in America, code talkers, okay, just as facts being what they are.
Part of it,
your ethnicity is your ethnicity. You were born in Grand Canyon, Arizona. Anybody who's born in the United States of America, whether it's Neal David Sutz, I have a birth certificate, I was born in New York, 1970. You are you, with your name. You were born there. Why do you think that despite the incredible loyalty of your family, the fact of the violent deportation and separation of your clan in the UK, Italy, Germany, all these countries, despite this incredible generational loyalty that, and I say this generally, your family and your people suffered, thrown out, and then continued to give loyalty? Why do you think that it's so challenging? In brief, why can't they just say, clearly that's your name, you don't have to take a Christian name, it's your birth name, it's the name you were given, while at the same time the government can come in and say to the Navajo Nation people, you're sovereign, but people in the Grand Canyon, Window Rock, southern Utah, etc., that you are also subject to some of our laws if you're not given the same rights. Why would you be, your people, generally speaking, be subject to laws and yet not be given the same rights? Why do you think that is? Because what you're going through, I find just horrifying, because I couldn't imagine if somebody, I was given my birth name, it's my name, if somebody made me and said, Neal, the only way you're going to function, the only way we're going to let you function in the Occidental world, America and Europe, is if you do this. Why do you think that's actually happening, that something that they could do so quickly and so easily is such a challenge, despite the irrefutable proof that you were born in Arizona?
Yeah, is that right? But of course, someone has to answer this question. That's not me, probably, because I know the governments, I know what's the design, the project. But for sure, it's the information that I had. Or part of it is that U.S. Army, according with the local army of Europe, they get a deal to control, to have a business in Europe, sovereigns with the American styles, American way.
Okay.
I know maybe that's correct, and now this is not to me to judge. It's okay. This is another point.
It's just the facts.
It's just facts.
Right.
So you say just facts for me. This not important, but it's the fact. And to have informations what happens in other country, they need just antenna. Just reporters. But not offshore reporters. There's people that have a capacity to adapt, to learn languages, strategies, maybe like warriors. Okay, and that have to be recognized. That's come from U.S. or from native.
Right.
Just for what happens today is exactly what information that I get from us. It's not only my family, but also other family.
And this is where to close this up, and I have just two other brief questions for you, because this to me is very personal. It's not personal because I have empathy for you as a fellow human being living on this earth with my own challenges, but not the kind of challenge you have. In Switzerland, for example, and I don't know if you know this, it's not the same kind of thing, but it's an irony, if you will. In Switzerland, in Geneva, a child who is 16 years old, and as you know in America, 16 years old is not majority age.
Majority, right.
Okay, so a 16-year-old in Geneva can go into the mayor's office. Okay, we didn't talk about this before, but this just came to my mind. They can go into the mayor's office in Geneva. They can change by simply saying and filling out a document by themselves without even a parent, but forget the parent part. They can change their sex and their legal name by saying they want to. So
Really?
just by saying it.
Okay.
If they're from there, if they have, Swiss nationality or partial Swiss nationality. I find it rather ironic that a 16-year-old child in a canton, in Switzerland, they're cantons. Cantons, as I've talked about previously, are like states in America. Do you find it a little odd that you're having such a challenge in your life that's causing a block and also a massive amount of disrespect by not being able to have your name, when a 16-year-old child of their own volition can walk into the mayor's office in Geneva, Switzerland, and say, let's just say, I'm a man, and say, I decided I'm a woman, and my name is no longer Neal David Sutz, it's, Julie Smith. And all I have to do is fill out one piece of paper, and it is stamped, it is approved, and I can change my ID card, my passport, and anything I want. Do you find it ironic? And it's not to say, do you find it, does it make you angry, but do you find it ironic that you're facing this kind of challenge when they can just speak and do something, when what you're doing as an adult, as a human being, an adult, a male, a soul with a mission, you have this challenge, but they can snap their fingers and do it?
Yeah, if the question is why don't do here in Italy, because it is completely different from Switzerland, maybe. Maybe it's another country, it's another mentality, it's another systems that's belong to maybe from US or from somewhere else, but of course...
well, I mean, the US and Switzerland, they're sister republics.
Yeah, but the difference is... for the other country, honestly, I don't know what they can do that. If it's
Well, the reason they were able to do it is because
because they are running.
The Green Party and the Socialist Party made the decision that they wanted to do a lot of transitioning of children and give that liberty. But, okay, even if that wasn't happening in Switzerland, we're doing this brief talk with me and Jo'Hán today, live, unscripted, and clearly with some specific questions, to bring up the irony that I find it, as our campaign talks about, this very repulsive political agenda that keeps going on that forgets the loyalty of ethnicity, the loyalty of serving in the government, when I'm talking about his family, and simple human rights. Because you were talking about, for instance, the Navajo Nation Human Rights Committee.
Right.
Okay, there's these words that are used, like the UN Human Rights Commission. There's a lot of propaganda that's used to make it look like these entities, if you will, exist to help the integrity of a human being. If somebody took my name away, it would be rather odd for me, my name, and made me have another name. So in closing, and this is a peculiar interview. This is not an interview. This is a talk. It's about information, because there is a massive movement in America politically for the presidential candidates that are trying to get the Native American vote. And so I find it a gift and an honor that we're able to talk about something that people might think, why does Neal David Sutz keep saying, what is this challenge? The challenge is, he is who he is. Okay, he was born in the Grand Canyon. He has his name. He's having a challenge, a massive challenge, and it's not just the challenge is here in Italy, but the challenge you're having affects the rest of your life everywhere you go. And the bottom line is, when we talk about sovereignty, we talk about people and American citizens, people that are allowed all the rights of whomever they are, if they are Diné or if they are Caucasian and they were born on American soil, to be given the same rights, to have the same rights. And that's what we're doing with the campaign. Is it's not about diluting votes. It's not about being angry with the other three primary candidates, Kennedy and Harris and Trump. It's about bringing information to the people so people can hear it, see it, verify it, make their own decision, and then also stand up as advocates, because that's what this is about, is saying, if I was in charge of the Office of Vital Records in Arizona, there are numerous, in the counties in the north, in Maricopa County, and I was in charge of the rules, and anybody with half a brain was in charge of the rules, this man wouldn't have the challenge he has. The fact that he's not interested in politics has nothing to do with it. The fact that he doesn't, it's not your thing. Just like it wasn't my thing before. So I'm saying, as an advocate, because I have no power. The power is in the truth. The power is in the information. And the rights have to be shared equally among everybody, not only when it serves the government. It has to serve the people. That's my personal belief.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
And that's what you're doing in your life. But the challenge you have is, you still have this challenge in your hands, because the basic human rights, civil rights, I'm not talking ethnically, of you being born in America, despite the loyalty of your family in the past, despite the violent deportation, despite all of it, you're not still being given equality.
Exactly.
And that, for me, is what I really wanted to discuss with you.
Yeah, because the international laws don't recognize anymore the Native Americans like ethnicity.
Right.
Why? If we were not ethnicity, maybe we are considered like the typical Americans. So why we are to live in the reservation? Why in the map of U.S. we say this is an Indian reservation? Mm-hmm. No, just Arizona, but no Indian reservation.
Right.
Example. Okay, so we were used in the war. We were used for engineering, for spy, for complots, for many things. Mm-hmm. Use our languages to confuse the others for their personal business. But we have the rights as the politics or commercial say.
Still today,
there are many violence, many abuse of us, but they don't talking about.
Okay, so again, this is
one of the topics that the world don't know what really happens in the reservation every day.
And I can say, this isn't a comparison story, but to make a point to people, my father's side of the family, of my genetic family, were born. They come from Russia. It was Poland. It was Russia. It was Poland. It was Russia during the time of the pogroms. My paternal grandparents migrated. They weren't deported. They migrated to save their lives when they were kids from Bialystok, which is now Poland, and it was Russia. Then it was Poland, as I said, to Southside Chicago. Had 5 kids. Raised a life, everything was normal. Were given the rights when they came as American citizens. They had to go through, Staten Island or whatever the thing that they did. So what I want to bring really to point with this interview in closing is that it is so importantly critical that no matter who wins the next election, that we don't need to wait until November 5th when people start really voting, and before mail-in voting they're going to do it. We don't need to wait until the 3rd week in January. We need to look at true equality, because in America right now, and it's not just since President Joseph R. Biden came into office, it happened with the Trump administration all the time. I worked with soldiers that came back from Afghanistan that were in the Obama administration who weren't given the same rights. They weren't given the same treatment, medical treatment, financial treatment, psychiatric treatment for those who needed it. We're in a situation right now, and I would venture to guess, despite the gravity of your personal problem, which is seriously bad, that there might be other people who have a similar situation and they've forgotten the past. Because as a Jew, with Jewish blood, if you will, in my system, Hebrew blood, they always say we must never forget. But in your case, in the case of your people, America has forgotten.
Navajo Nation is made by different cultures that come from different parts of the world, including the Navajo Nation that's today they be recognized like Native American Navajo.
Right.
Navajo. Recorded like Navajos comes from Mexico, from Africa, from Europe, from China, from Japan, from North Europe, so from Canada. Also for other tribes. But the threat is not a problem. We will come for everyone. It's okay.
Right.
To be proud to be Native American is not to burn in a Tepe or in a Hogan or in the Grand Canyon, Arizona, or in the Black Hills.
Right.
This is not. We don't think like that. We don't have enemies for that. We can born wherever. It doesn't matter the place where you're born.
Right.
Important that I know where you are. But the fact is, personally, exactly, is that what is the difficult for other governments? Doesn't matter if I'm born in Italy, in Russia, in Vietnam, or in Africa. Doesn't matter. My identity, my ethnicity, my name.
Your integrity.
I just ask integrity. If this is the point. I want that the governments recognize or give me the integrity, because if they give to me automatically, I can keep the integrity for all the Native Americans.
And this
peacefully, of
and
course.
This is the thing. It's not, and I'm not cutting off. I want to take this the baton, if you will, as you were 2 people running around the track in a marathon, to make the point. You're asking simply, and if the United States of America, meaning in general the United States Office of Vital Records, would simply give to this man who is not a victim. He's not claiming to be a victim. He is a victim of the system. I can say that politically. He is a wounded warrior in the true sense of a wounded warrior, but he is living his life. He is giving an enormous amount of information and knowledge and time and experience to people around the world, in the United States, in Italy, in other countries. I make this as a personal plea to the current administration that this needs to stop right now, because we can't have another false promise. And this is why I'm involved in the campaign I'm involved in, because I know what false promises are like, different false promises. It's a simple thing to do for the integrity of a human being, to allow them to be who they are, naturally born as you are with your name. So it's an odd way to end this conversation, because we could go on for hours. There's a lot more to learn. If your schedule permits, I'd like to talk more in depth about Diné with you, if you'd like sometime, how that applies about sovereignty of the nation. But this is simply about, if one person is treated this way and another person is treated this way, we cannot wait for false promises. We are going to change. The government's going to write new legislation. deportation is deportation. It's violent. It's illegal. It happened. It happened to his family. It happened to many other families in the same situations who were loyal. So I make this message out that whoever's in charge of the government now, it is clearly President Biden's administration, who might continue afterwards if Vice President Harris wins, that we start applying the laws and the rules, but the sovereignty laws to everybody equally, not where we want and how we don't want, and when we want for political purposes. So what I want to do, just in summary, is really thank you. If you'd like to make a final statement. I didn't tell you I was going to actually, and I wasn't planning this, I wasn't backdooring you, but the whole thing is about the, in Italian, adesso, in English, now. If there's going to be change that can be made like that, because if the United States of America did what the United States of America should do and should have done for many, many years to let you have your name, many administrations back, the man would not be in the situation he's in currently. And for it to be impossible to modify this situation unless the United States of America does something very simple, which is allow him to have the proper documentation to have his name, to be himself, legally, with integrity. It's something that can be done quick, because if we can make a war happen, the United States, in 2 seconds, if somebody can press a button on a bomb in 2 seconds, we can apply the same laws to everybody, especially to those who have been loyal, but even those who are just do the same rights. So I want to thank you. If there's anything else you'd like to say, please share a message. If you'd like to say something in Diné, whatever you'd like to do.
I'm a medicine man, and I take care for the environments, for the animal, especially for all the humans. It doesn't matter which colors we're speaking, with the language they're speaking, where they come from, doesn't matter. And I would like to take care of my family, and my family is not my parents, and my family is all the tribes. Through me, all the Native Americans, if we be careful, will be healing, also for the heritage, also for the suffering side that we have. We suffer. So, through me, like a medicine man, also the role of medicine man, I taking care of all of us.
Right.
And this is a part of my mission, because I have the courage to go further, to not against the system for to make war. Absolutely not. But to let the people understand what happens peacefully, and give back our dignity to not depend from who decide what we have to be, what you have to do, without our intelligence, without our dream, without our existence. We say holon, she had holon, this existence. Where is the altongo holon? Where is the existence that we are? So I would like to give back to all the Native Americans that they forget, that don't have a voice to talk. They exclude to be also part in maybe in the politics, maybe not. Why not? If we are humans or we are not humans for someone, okay. So I just ask that I be recognized exactly for what I am. I know what I am, but officially, because officially to recognize what I am, what I come from, automatically all the Native Americans can do that through me, without charge. I do this free. Okay, so this is the prayer. So that's in, so that's in, pray every day I pray for that. And I continue my mission. So I hope that humanity really would like to walk in beauty. We say, Nehye Nashanga means we walk in beauty. We are walking beauty. But in this way, we are not walking beauty. We say we're proud to be Native American, but we would like to follow the American dream. But what is the American dream? To recognize the ethnicity. So please, in the prayer, to be honest, introspect yourself, no borders, no discrimination. If you really would like to recognize the integrity for each one of us.
Right.
We have to stay together and work together.
Right.
So I don't like to give message because I don't want to be a wise,
Yeah.
but just that I'm the courage to say, and maybe I'm waiting. So thank you that give up this opportunity, not only
My
to me,
honor.
but all the Native Americans that maybe they would like to, but they can't.
Right.
So thank you. In the Diné we say "Hayehe, hayehe, shije hayehe nejeh," with a heart, heartily. Thank you, by my heart to your heart. Okay, and Navajo Nation is a good nation, but not invincible. It's vulnerable also because the technologies, the evolutions, that everything's going to change.
Right.
I observe from outside. But who live inside every day don't understand what happens daily.
Right.
This is hard to me.
Right.
When I'm back there in the Grand Canyons or in wherever, I still feel home.
Right.
I still feel home. But when I talk with the people and I say, Yat eh, they say to me, Yat eh. We don't need to say anything else. So thank you for listening to me to take into times, and surely thank you too.
It's my honor.
And
It's
yes,
my
sir.
honor.
And the end of the prayer we say, everything is going to be in harmony.
Mhm.
And in the Diné we say, Honjonasli.
Mhm.
In a four direction, to Chorikunyais, where we came from, and we live in this planet. We say, Honjonasli, 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 Honjonasli. Harmony in the making. I hope that this information will be part of the harmony in the making with all the rest of the humanity in this planet. Thank you. Oh.
Thank you for being with us this evening, America. Don't wait until November 5th to make your mark. Make your mark on November 5th. Make it based on true information. The current administration, as well as the past administrations, have had the ability and still have the ability, a lot of people that are carryover employees, to correct situations. This is a situation that needs to be corrected. When it comes to November 5th, make your mark. Don't abstain from voting because of whatever your reason is. And if you want to abstain, but at least inform yourself. Don't just believe the TV. Talk to people who are authentically who they are. This gentleman, as one example, for one culture, from one place in the world with one challenge. We have the ability to change the world, and we can do it like that and solve most of the major problems. So thank you very much. I appreciate it very, very much.